Hi kiddos! For today's activity, we're going to do an oceanscape with all the different animals of the ocean. So you're going to need a few tubes of color. You're also going to need a painting palette, which is going to mix all of your different colors. You're also going to need a few paint brushes, a glass of water to basically clean your brushes, and a piece of paper to do your painting. You might also need something to protect your table, like a bigger piece of paper underneath. So more specifically, we're going to need several different colors for our oceanscape, which are going to be kind of exotic for all of the different fishes in the sea. So first, we're going to use a little bit of blue, actually a lot of blue for the ocean. Then we're going to get some pink, which is going to be for the colors of our fish. Then we're going to use a little bit of brown, which is going to be for our fisherman's boat. We're also going to need a little bit of purple as well for certain fish. We're also going to need some yellow, also for the fish. We're also going to need some orange to help us with our little Nemo. A little bit of green. And a little bit of black as well. Perfect. Once we have all of our paints in our palette, we're going to need several brushes. So this thick one for the oceanscape, and some smaller ones as well for the little details of the fish. You're also going to need a glass of water to rinse your paintbrushes, a piece of paper for your painting, and a larger one to protect your station. And also a towel to rinse your fingers. Great, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take a big brush that we're going to use to make our ocean blue. So we're going to get a little bit of water and dip right into our blue paint. So light blue, dark blue, whatever you have. And we're going to draw a line. Just almost at the tippy top of the page, but leave yourself, 2-3 inches. And everything under that line, we're going to paint blue. So nice, ooh, there's a little dot there. Nice, rich blue. A nice deep blue color, since we're really going to do something about the deep blue sea. So all the way through, you can use a little bit of water to help spread out the evenness of the paint throughout the piece of paper. But remember not to use too much water, or else the ends of the pieces of paper are going to curl up. Perfect. So just keep painting through all underneath. I would suggest not making it too dark of a blue either, because we're going to paint all of those amazing fishes, and we really want them to burst out through the color. Perfect. Great. Just getting the little white spots out. And now we're ready to work on our fisherman. So basically what's going to happen now is on top of that little line of blue that we just drew, we're now going to take some brown paint. And I'm going to make a little fisherman's boat here on the right-hand side. So the way we're going to do that is you're going to draw a straight line down and around. See, it's just skimming right alongside the blue of the ocean. And then it's going to go slightly up at an angled degree on both sides, and then a straight line across to make the boat. And then we're going to paint that in brown. Great, so that's our fisherman's boat. Just making sure he's really nice and brown, made out of wood. Perfect. And then we're going to have our two little fishermen that we're going to paint right inside the boat. Great. So little do they know they have this enormous kind of ocean blue underneath them with all sorts of creatures. So now I'm going to take one of my skinnier brushes, use a little bit of water, and I'm going to start painting my first fisherman. I'm just taking a little bit of color here, a little bit of pink, light pink for his head. So I mixed some white and some hot pink. And now a little bit of green, which is going to be for his body. And then one arm, you see it's popping out there, and then his body. So his one arm is jutting out because I'm going to have him hold one of those rowers. So I'm taking this black here, and we're going to add some of the detail. A little bit of hair. See, I just have it right alongside his head. And now we're going to draw the rower. So it's going to go right next to his arms, right there. Poof, right into the water, and it gets a little bit bigger at the end, just like a real rower. And he's the one that's going to be responsible for making the boat go forward. So he has a big job on this boat. So although he's not the fisherman, he's definitely, second man on deck. So now I'm going to start painting my second fisherman in front of the boat. I'm taking a little bit of light brown here. I mixed some white with some brown. And he's going to be right there in front of the boat. And he's going to be the one fishing. We're going to have him holding a fishing rod. So you just do a little circle for his head. And then I'm choosing a separate color for his body. So a little bit of a bright orange. So you can see the difference between his head and his body since he's so small. So I'm just drawing a little square for his body. And then 2 little juts out for his arms. So now what we're going to do, add a little bit of hair. See, it's kind of going in the wind. And now his fishing rod. So it's going straight out. You see at kind of an angle. It can't go straight up because it needs to go down into the ocean. So it's a straight line, but angled, tilted outwards. And then I'm going to use some paint to have the fishing rod go straight down into the ocean. So it should traverse the line of the blue. And then there's a hook at the end. It kind of loops over. You see that? Perfect. So now that our ocean is nice and dry, we can start painting our fish that our fishermen are hopefully going to catch. At least they hope so. Our fish definitely don't want to be caught. So now I'm going to get a little bit of pink to make a big pink fish. Kind of a big, exotic fish at the very bottom. I don't think the fishermen are going to be able to catch him because he's really big. Look at him. He's about the size of their boat. And he's really far under the water. There are some fish that, they live so far down in the water that, most human beings have never seen them. And they, the lower you get into the water, the darker it gets. And so the fish are all these kinds of crazy colors. So now I'm adding a little bit of green here to make my scales and my detailing. So my green and pink fish is like a totally wild fish here. And a little bit of fins here on the upper and lower part of the fish. Perfect. So he's this exotic guy. And now I'm going to draw a little bit of algae since we're at the ocean floor. So I'm just going to take my brush and wiggle it down. Wiggle it down here. So it's kind of like a sea bush. It's like a bush that's underwater and the waves are making it kind of wiggle like that. So doing a few leaves here and they all kind of connect together at the bottom. Perfect. I don't know if you've ever had sushi, but sushi is made from this kind of material, this kind of algae. Perfect. So now I'm going to draw a little Nemo fish, a little orange guy who's kind of hanging out by the algae. There's lots of food and other things around there. So all the little fishes are hanging out because there's lots of life there. Perfect. So I'm making my teeny little fish here. Super cute with his little dorsal fin. Perfect. Some details on him. A little black to outline him. With my teeny tiny little brush and his eye. Fantastic. So now I'm going to take a little bit of white and add his little Nemo spots. Perfect. So now I'm thinking about what other kinds of ocean life do we have under here? We have fish, we have algae, but there's tons of stuff like squid. So I think I'm going to draw like a big, scary yellow squid, which is definitely something that the fishermen are going to probably not ever catch. But what a squid looks like, it's kind of like this round head here, and then it's got tons of tentacles that come out from underneath him. And he basically uses those tentacles to swim. So it's almost like, he's got 10 little legs that help him swim. So I'm just going to take my yellow here and have it jut out below like spaghetti. Perfect. My little squid here. I think I'm actually going to give him a friendly face because people are so scared of squid. I want him to look nice. Give him a little face. Kind of some dots too, because they can be poisonous. Perfect. And a little bit of detailing. Awesome. So you can really make your fish and your underwater life any colors you want because, you know, we just don't know. Fishes can be of so many different colors and scales and sizes. You should really have fun with the kinds of fish that we have going on here. Okay, so now I think we're going to kind of start going upwards closer to the fishermen. So we're going to start seeing fish and things that, you know, maybe you and I have seen more often. So up here, I'm going to make some jellyfish. A little jellyfish here. No one really likes jellyfish because they sting you and they hurt, but they definitely exist. And you see it's almost right at the tippy top of the water, which means that it's closer to humans and a little bit less exotic. So to make my jellyfish, I'm making a little circle and then tiny little tentacles, almost like a mini squid. And I'm making them in a little green here. My green paint is making them look super poisonous. Little circle and the squiggles going underneath for the tentacles. And they usually come with quite a few jellyfish in the pod. It's never one jellyfish alone, so I've drawn 4 or 5 together. Awesome. So there I'm going to draw, I think I'm going to draw some eels. And I'm also going to draw some little baby fish so our fishermen can actually catch something. So using my tiny brush here, it'll be easier to do the small fish with my small brush. I'm just going to hold down my paper here. It'll be easier to draw. And then take your brush and we're going to do like a circle and then a small triangle behind it, like a tiny little circle. And then a little triangle in the back for the fins. We can make them all sorts of different colors. Just rinsing off here because I want to use so many different colors. Then another little fish, circle, and a tiny little triangle behind. Perfect. So remember that most fish aren't swimming alone. They're always in a school of fish, unless it's like a massive, massive fish like a dolphin or a shark or our big pink fish there. They're usually always in a school. So there's like, you know, at least 20 fish all swimming together. So I'm going to draw my little school of fish here, where our fishermen are pretty lucky because they're definitely going to catch something. A little circle and the triangle to do the fins. Perfect. So we have a few different colored ones here. Some pink ones, which could actually be the babies of our giant pink fish. And then I'm going to have one just hanging off the hook of our fisherman here so he has something to bring home to his family. Great. Almost done here with our little school of fish. So then afterwards, you know, this looks pretty safe outside of the jellyfish. I think I'm going to maybe add something a little bit scarier since we have some room there in the middle. So think about what other kinds of animals we want to draw in here. Right now I'm just adding a little details here, little eyes to each of my fish. Perfect. So I think for my last animal, I'm going to add some scary eels right in the middle. So maybe you want to do more fish or a little shark or a dolphin. But I think eels would be kind of cool. I'm going to take some white, a little bit of black here to make some gray. And then just kind of have them snaking down like that. Snaking down. So they look kind of electric, you know, since they have that electric pulse. Adding a little bit more detail here. And some orange. And there we go. Great job, you guys. Don't forget to sign your painting on the lower right-hand side. So kiddos, here's our underwater painting. I hope you had a great time making it. I'd love to see what yours looks like, so please send them in to me at tutokid.com.